Hi, this is a video about how to control your files and have them backed up all the time, setting up a folder to synchronize in a very easy way. Then afterwards I will expand into more expert suggestions. The reason why I recorded this video is because I have a lot of friends that lost work, either because their laptop is getting stolen and didn't have backup, or that their hard drive failed, which is bound to happen. That happened to me actually, but I had all my work backed up, so I did not need to do any. The very next day I can continue with another computer. So that was very good and very helpful in the end stages of my work process. I think a lot of people know about cloud services and stuff like that, but maybe they don't know how many options there are to actually do it, because maybe they have too many files and they think they don't have enough space, or they think it's complicated or whatever. So I thought that I want to show how it's not so very complicated. So the free alternatives, I haven't paid so far in my life for cloud storage. I might in the future, but so far I've been managing fine with just the things that are available right now. So Dropbox is the most famous one, and it works fine, but the problem is that it only has 2 GB, and that's, you can fill it up very easily if you're doing any kind of graphic work. And it's easy to share, everything works, but the limitation is so big. You can get extra storage if you want to, but you don't want to refer and spam all your friends. So I would not recommend Dropbox really, unless it's for small things. The one I haven't used is Google Sync, which was pretty bad in the beginning, but maybe it has improved. I'm not sure how it works, but the problem with that one again is 15 GB, and it's also shared with your email. So even though I don't actually use it, I still have, with my emails, take up 9 GB of that, and I don't want to delete my email. So I don't actually use that. Maybe it's better, I don't really know, but it's 15 GB for free right now. I use it only for the Google Forms, which is very nice. You can do surveys and stuff and also the spreadsheets are quite nice now. It has improved a lot. It's very similar to Excel now. You can do it online and you can work, and it seems to be very good. Then we have OneDrive, which is very good. This is probably my favorite because it's very easy to get 30 GB, and you can even get more sometimes on different promotions for free, and it just works perfectly. It has a lot of settings. It's easy to share stuff, and 30 gig is a lot more than 2 gigs. So that's a Microsoft version. And then we have Mega, which I use it, but I only use it to store my music. So I haven't really tried sharing documents so much. I haven't tried editing, but it seems to work very fine. And you can do selective sync, which you can do with a lot of these. So you can choose to only back up some folder, which is quite useful if you reach your quota somewhere else. And the sharing seems to be very easy. I think this is likely to be the most private, and they won't report. They're very anti-NSA and stuff like that. So you should not have that many file limitations, and you should not be worried about them using your data so much. And then we have maybe the best one, which is OwnCloud. And then we have maybe the one with the highest possibilities, but also maybe the most complicated one, which is OwnCloud, which is basically an open source Dropbox version. But the thing is that it's only limited to, you have to have your own server, which is a big minus, but then you can have unlimited space, just how much hard drive space you have. So you can even set it up with one hard drive and then back it up to the second hard drive. And that way have a good backup. It should not be that difficult to do, because you can do it with a Raspberry Pi, but you have to do some coding, and I haven't tried it yet, but it seems to be not too bad. But I will do that in the future, because it would be so nice to have 2 TB for free for the rest of my life, So here's OneDrive, which is very nice. I also like the web interface a lot. I think it's much better than Dropbox. You can see the images even though you haven't downloaded them, and you can organize yourself pretty well in the browser, which I don't think is true for Dropbox, not in my opinion. I think Dropbox, they write names and you search, but I think it's very nice to have this kind of view, and you can move the files very easily. And then also with the sharing, everything is kind of similar. Maybe people don't know this, but you can right click on them, you can do share OneDrive link, and same for Dropbox, and that's very easy and very nice. And again, I haven't shared so much with Mega, so I don't really know, but yeah, it's pretty easy to do that too. So then we come to more how you should organize your files, because a lot of people say, well, I have 30 gigabytes of school files or media files or whatever. I use big files. I think that's just a bad excuse to not use cloud storage. So for me, what I do is that I have only the current projects, because I only have 40 gigabytes right now on OneDrive. And I have, I name them like project 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then I have current projects. So that's for my computer. And then whenever I finish with them, I put them in archived project. And maybe that could be another one. It depends on how big file size you have. So I think that way you can manage to have it small. And then if you have very, very, very big files or whatever, then okay, sure, fine. Then you can put it without the big files, not on Dropbox, but maybe the PDFs, and you have to have a lot of PDFs and stuff. So maybe the videos can be apart or on another one. So that's the problem with having. You can have a lot of, if you combine Mega plus OneDrive plus Google Drive and everything, it's a lot of gigabytes, but you don't want to split like half of your school files on one, half of your school files on one, or you know what I mean. So just put all the video files on Mega, and then you put all your every other file on Dropbox or whatever is your big file size, and then you can go to a second one to have archived projects where you don't need them right now, but you maybe want to have access to them later, and then you can go part by part, and then maybe when the files are that old that you think you might want them in the future, but it's not that necessary, maybe you can have a pen drive, and then you can duplicate the pen drive in order to have it more secure. So you can go rankings by your file folders. So you can do something like this, you do archive, and maybe you have space for 1 year, and then you go and put another one. So maybe you start with OneDrive first, and then you go to Mega, and then Google Sync hard drive, and then to a basic hard drive. And that way you have backup. This is just examples, of course, how you can do it. And then I have some further suggestions. There are if you have a tablet, and then you can choose, and for OneDrive there's an app that syncs one single folder for free to your tablet, which is very nice, because maybe you have a lot of videos and stuff you want to see, and then you don't want to connect to your tablet and then transfer it. Then you can just have a file and then drag it to that folder in OneDrive, and then you can it automatically syncs to your tablet later. So I do that for videos. So I put videos that are like up to 1 hour, and I put them there, and then I watch them, and then I delete them and I watch them on the bus ride or whatever. So that's quite nice. Another one is to have a shared desktop. Everyone doesn't know that, but you can have your desktop could be shared. It can be synchronized, and then you can use the same desk. If you have several computers, you can have the same desktop file folder, which is quite nice, because sometimes if I work on a stationary computer and then I move to another one, and I put the files, because I was lazy, put them in the desktop, and I realize I don't have access to them, and then I realize I'm missing files. So instead of having, so you can also synchronize your desktop. That's what I'm trying to say. And then here I will show a quite quick video about a software called Fences, which is quite nice. So here I'm going to show how to use Fences. So Fences is a very, very basic software to create and organize your desktop in a better way. So what you can do is that you can go to files or whatever, and then so here's school, and then you can drag. If you hold Alt, you can drag, and you can have this have these maps on the desktop instead. So you can, and if you want, you can drag files here between the files and between the folders, and it will show in different ways. And you can do like lists and stuff, make it smaller, bigger, large icons, small icons, and then you can also make them very, very small, like this. And I will kind of snap to and rearrange the whole thing. And then you can just, whenever you finish with the project or whatever, which I normally do like 2-3 subjects, and then I have them open here, so I have all the files, and then maybe you can sort them by date modified, and then I can drag them and sort them in here instead of going to the Explorer. And then when I finish, I just remove this, and it doesn't remove the folder, you just remove the highway, and you can always realign this and do stuff. And I think you can switch colors too, but I'm not really sure how to do that. right now. Change the opacity and stuff. So this is quite nice. For example, here I have to do, and maybe I want to have this to-do list of stuff to do, and then have on the, instead of having this on my desktop, you have it here. Then also, of course, you can, if you want to, you can just change the. I mean, maybe some people don't know it, but you can change the folder for the desktop to wherever you want. You just click. You just go to computer and my desktop and change the location. The thing with that is that I sometimes record files, and I sometimes put very big files, like videos or whatever, and maybe I don't want to synchronize that, because if I have everything synchronized, then it will use the bandwidth. Maybe that's a problem, maybe that's not a problem. It depends on you. So I still want to have some files on the real desktop for just this page, for them not to be synced. But this one shared desktop, it's actually synced. And then also you can double click in order to remove all the hide all the icons and folders, which is quite nice if you just want a clean backdrop. And yeah, I really like the software. It's pretty cool. Then we have DearSync Pro, which is basically a software to help you automatically back up things without using cloud service. So what you can do is that you can schedule it to automatically sync or make backup to a folder for user-defined rules. I mean, whatever you want to do. And you can also do it manually if you want. And this is what I did before to use it to sync it to an external hard drive, which I still think is a good idea, even though you work with cloud storing. So this might be interesting for people that perhaps has more than 100 gigabytes of data and does not want to upload and download everything, but just to save files with a low frequency. Maybe you do it once per year or once every 6 months, or just have a safe place to put your files in order if something happens. So this software also can work on a daily basis, of course. You can have 2 hard drives, and you can back up one of the folder to save on the other hard drive in case one of them fails. I'm aware that most people now use laptops and usually only have one hard drive, but I really recommend switching out the DVD player to a secondary hard drive, so you can run a solid state plus a normal hard drive to get performance and storage. And you can buy these ones, and it's called HDD Caddy. It can be bought cheaply on eBay. Version numbers, so I do save the files, version 1, 2, 3 or 001 or whatever, and then I keep on increasing that, because it's maybe you group something together in a file and then you realize you actually want to delete it, and then you realize, whoa, I deleted this thing that I was not working on, and then it's nice to go back and be able to import that old part or whatever. Then also maybe it's nice to see the progress, what you're doing. But this, of course, could make it so there are a lot of big files. I mean, that uses more space. But I think it's worth it easily. And maybe you can do, depending on what kind of file type it is, maybe it's not very well compromised. For example, I use that for Rhino files, which is, you can zip them into like 2% of their size. So maybe when I finished, instead of having 1 gigabyte of Rhino files, I just zip them, except the latest one, and put them, and then it will have much less space. And then maybe also Photoshop files, I think they can be zipped pretty well as well, so you can do that in order to not use your quota. And then also file organization naming. I think it's nice to have to be able to go back in a folder and see where stuff are without remembering what's the name of the files. So you should have folders having good names. But I think a lot of people have too many folders, so they have 5. I mean, you should not need to click 7 different folders in order to reach a file, unless it's a huge project, of course. I have a lot of friends that they put so many subfolders that it's so difficult to find what you're searching for. And I think that's not just bad. So whenever you have more than maybe 15 files, put another folder. But if you don't have 15 files, don't do another folder, because you want to have overview of the whole thing. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about Winderstat, which is this software, which is very nice in order to manage your space. It's good for both hard disk space and also, if you have a one drive folder or whatever, you can search and see what uses space. So here, this is my C:, and this is my solid state drive, which only has 250 gigabytes. And if you search on this one, you see that they have a huge page file. So this is Winderstat, which is a very nice software, and it's free, that allows you to check what takes up space in your hard drive in a very, very graphical and good way. So if you see here, you can click on the files, and then when you ever click on the boxes or whatever, you see how much, what the names are, where they're located and everything. So for example, this blue one, if you click on it, it's the page file. It's 16 gigabytes, which is very, very big, and maybe I can do something about that. I think you can decrease the size of the page file, by the way. And then you can click and whatever, and the green ones, and very, very easy way to see what takes up space, and you get how much each folder takes up, everything like that. Then also you have on the right side, you have the file type. You see the green ones are the this web recording thing, video recording thing I'm doing. So maybe I can click on that, see where they are, and then edit that. And then JPEG or whatever file. It makes it very easy, and maybe you can remove some of the video files or whichever takes up space for you. So I really recommend this for limiting your quota, and then also if you have a solid state, which I also recommend people to have a faster drive but smaller, and then that way you see what takes up space and what doesn't. Takes up a lot of space, so I highly recommend it. So I guess this is the end of this file. So I guess this is the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, please put down, and please also subscribe. Also make sure to go to 3 Crown Collective on Facebook and like it, and also there's a WordPress page. Well, thank you for listening. Ciao.